welcome back to the podcast, Evil Dungeon Master Universe Podcast. I am your host, Evil Dungeon Master Vince. Hopefully you're doing well. It's Monday after a holiday weekend. Hopefully you had a wonderful holiday on 4th of July. If you're in the United States and you're listening to this, happy 4th. Anyway, ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address, and theevildm.com is my website. Patreon.com/theevildm is where you can support me. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about dual class, or the character with two classes, on page 33 of the Player's Handbook. So unlike multi-class characters who are of non- or semi-human race, the character with two classes must only be human. To obtain the second class, the character must switch his or her profession at some point thereafter. No progression in the original class is possible. In order to switch from one class to another, the character must have the ability score of 15 or more in the principal attribute ability of the original class and a 17 or 18 in the principal attributes or attribute of the class changed to. Note that nearly any combination of class is thus possible. So, cleric and a fighter, cleric and a paladin, blah, blah, blah. Alignment will come into factor here, because if you had the wrong alignment, say you're playing a neutral evil thief, you can't obviously become a lawful good paladin unless you're somehow switching your alignment, and thus you'll take penalties for that. So when a character apts to cease his or her old profession and becomes a new class, the character retains the number of hit dice due to the character of the level or his or her level class. However, all other functions of the character are at first level of experience, for that is his or her ability in the new class. Furthermore, if during the course of the adventure the character resorts to the use of any other capability or functions of his or her former class, the character gains no experience for the adventure. I've always thought that was a little harsh, that if you accidentally do something of your former class, you lose all experience for the adventure. I've never done that whatsoever. I mean, if you're learning a new class, sure. Okay, so I'll step back here for a moment. Now, when I've always DM'd with dual classing, and my logic behind dual classing is, sure, you can learn a new class. You can pursue a new career, in quotes, a new class. Doesn't mean you automatically forget what you knew in your previous class. Just like as if, in real life, for example, if you were a computer tech and decided to go to electrician school to become an electrician, obviously you're going to be studying hard. You're going to progress in the electrician class as best as you can using those abilities on a daily basis. It does not mean that some point throughout the day you may do something on a computer or do something that you were, IT wise or computer programming wise, because you know those skills and abilities. I don't think that you should suffer losing all your experience for the day or the game session just because you used an ability from your former class. I understand the balance issue that Gary's trying to say here by doing this. Well, you're dual classing into something else, so you should be restricted from using the other thing so you don't have an advantage over other players. I don't look at it that way, and that's one of the things I don't agree with. Again, I can house rule it however I want, but I'm not going to penalize a character because he did one little thing. Now, with that said, if said player is constantly using his old abilities and not doing his new abilities, as in leaning hard on the old abilities because those are better or for the time being works for the situation of the adventure, then yeah, probably I would penalize them a little bit of experience for it, but not lose all the experience. So There's something there to think about. Tell me what you do with your characters in your game as a DM. So, continuing along here, if a character wants to use the old abilities without penalizing them, according to the book, you need to obtain a level of experience that exceeds the former class. And then you going forward, you would still have your new class abilities, but you get to mix and match them as you please. So the example they give here is a character with the ability scores of 15 strength, 17 intelligence, 12 wisdom, 10 dexterity, 16 constitution, and 7 charisma begins as a fighter. After attaining 6th level, the player switches the character to a magic user. This allows the character to retain 6 10-sided hit dice, but for all other respects, he or she must be a 1st level magic user wearing no armor, carrying those weapons usable by his or her new class only, and using spells against components. When 7th level experience is gained, however, the character gets a 4-sided hit dice for additional hit points he or she can sustain at the new level. Furthermore, the character can now carry, but not wear armor, and weapons not normally used by the magic user, resort to their use if need arises, and not be penalized in respect to experience as a magic user, for he or she has already surpassed the new class disciplines of the former. Thus, no harm accrues to his or her experience as a magic user. Note that does not allow spells while using armor clad or elven fighter magic user is able to do. So, looking at this, once you exceed, you can basically use the things you were able to use. Obviously, casting magical spells in armor is not going to work, but it does allow you to wear the armor. In my opinion, I know it says you were able to carry but not wear the armor. In my opinion, I would say you'd be able to wear the armor, but you just not being able to cast spells or be at a very, very heavy penalty for it. I would think because you now know the you know how to wear armor as a fighter. Magic user, obviously, they don't want you to wear armor because of the fact that you have to move around a lot, and they don't know how to use armor, so it becomes bulky and awkward. But you know how to use it if you're going for something that I use logic a lot of these things. Most players don't dual class that are humans. They just kind of just stick with whatever they have and just move along. I've seen a few people do dual classing in my time as a dungeon master. I kind of like dual classing better than multi classing because multi classing is a pain in the ass to figure out half the time. I'll have to do another separate episode on multi classing and talk about that a little bit. But the problem is the way it's written, a lot of people stay away from it because they don't want to lose their experience. And granted, I don't make people lose their experience because of one little this or a little off here or there. But have you guys out there? What do you exactly do you do in that situation? Do you follow the book by the letter here, or do you let maybe like an instance or two slide because the situation warrants it in common sense? I don't know. It is weird to be a 6th level character and then have to start at level 1 all over again. And the only benefit you really have is the fact that you have a hell of a lot of hit points, especially if you're going at higher level back down to 1. Now, if you're 2nd level and going back to 1st, not much of a difference, though. If you were a fighter, you have reasonable amount of, say, 20 hit points or so to start as a magic user, as opposed to having 4. So I guess there's that bonus there. I mean, there's some good combinations that you can do. Like a fighter goes to a cleric, he has a calling. A thief becomes an illusionist because he thinks that might enhance his thieving abilities in the future, using illusionist spells to help um, get him through jobs. A ranger sees a calling to become a magic user. When you hit the right level, you become pretty badass as a ranger. You have access to these high level spells if you went high enough level for a ranger. Then adding arcane spells on top of it. I mean, why not? Now, the thing you have to worry about is, so 6 levels, say you go for 6 levels and then you jump into a new one, and now you have to worry about following the path of the new class. Now, if you follow the path of the new class and you start gaining levels in that and not using your prior for 6 levels, for example, do you think that the person needs a refresher for the former, or I guess, yes, the former class? Or do they automatically just keep it in their minds? Now, I know me personally, looking at this from a different point of view, me personally, if I haven't done something in a very long time, I may forget certain things. So, do I need to have a refresher? Yeah, I'll look back into certain things and refresh how to do them all over again. Obviously, just a quick refresher, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. So, if you're a magic user for 6 levels, and then you decide that you want to become a fighter, for example, uh, do you lose the some of the abilities of a magic user, how their methods work, because you now just spent 6 or 7 levels, or 7 levels, fighting with a sword and armor on your back, and not picking up a book, not writing, not reading, not studying? You have to get back into that mindset. You maybe would you make a player character have to go seek their masters out from the past and maybe get a refresher course? I mean, it'd be a great adventure hook. I have to go find my master. I need to get a refresher course in learning magic again so I can cast that while I swing my sword in battle. I don't know. So there's just some ideas to put in your head for dual classing and how easy it really is. But again, there's a lot at stake there, especially if you, according to the rules, botch and decide to use your original class abilities when you shouldn't. Just never liked that rule. Tell me what you think in the comments below about this dual classing and how it works in your game. Do you allow it? Do you not allow it? I'm curious to see what you think. Comment on Spotify and or on YouTube when you hear this. With that said, I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless everyone.